This is part one of chapter 8, The Potions Master. Hello and welcome to HarryPod, where you learn English with Harry Potter. My name is Natalia and I am your teacher and host. This is part one of chapter 8, The Potions Master, and this week I have a very special guest, teacher Thamara. Hey,
Hey,
welcome.
thank you, Natalia. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for inviting me to this special project. I'm very happy because I'm a big fan of Harry Potter, and I think that we have a lot of things to share here.
Yay, thank
I'm
you
very happy. Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Yay! So, tell us, who are you? What do you do? What does Harry Potter mean to you?
So my name is Thamara. I am a private teacher nowadays. I teach young learners, especially from 4 years and a half up to 10. And my goal in life in teaching is to teach kids through playing. So we play a lot, and we learn English through this all this play, all these jokes, all these songs. It's very happy, a happy class actually. Harry Potter to me has a very special meaning because when Harry and I first met, I was 10 years old. Um, and the first thing that I heard about Harry, it was from a cousin of mine because he likes weird things. So in my mind, when I heard about Harry Potter, I thought, "Oh my God, what is this boy saying about this wizard with this school?" And I was completely lost. And I said, "No, I'm not going to read." And he said, "Read, it's very nice." And I said, "No, no, no, I'm not going to read. I'm not going to read." A year later, I was with a school trip in Campos do Jordão, and I visited a bookstore, and there were a big pile of Harry Potter books. And I said, "Oh my God, this boy is following me. I need to buy one of these and I need to read." So I bought and I read, and I was completely in love with the story, with the magical things that we learn, and it was love. It wasn't love at first sight because at first time I was like this. I don't know if I'm going to like this boy, but I was completely in love, and it's part of my life since I was 11. Nowadays I'm 33, and I still love Harry Potter. And I can see that it's something that it turned into classical because my students here, they have like 6 or 7 years old, and they talk about Harry Potter with the same love that I used to do, that I used to say. And it's a funny thing because when I was 10, 11, Harry Potter was like my age, especially because of the movie,
Mm.
the actor, they was like my age. And I see the kids here, they talking about Harry Potter, and it seems like we're all the same age. It's something really weird. He never gets old, and it's something so weird, so weird. And I just want to say a little bit about the movie because I was
Yep.
completely fascinated about the first movie when I was a kid. And especially because here I live in a small town in Minas Gerais called São Lourenço. And 20 years ago, it wasn't something natural for us to watch movies in the movie theater that was like a world premiere. And Harry Potter was a world premiere here in São Lourenço. We watched it, yeah, yeah. I was, oh my God, I can't believe, because we were used to watch movies when, for example, the premiere was in March, and we were going to watch the movie in July, in
Yeah,
August.
I
Everybody
know
had
how it.
already watched it, and we were okay. And Harry Potter was the first movie that I watched as a world premiere, and I was completely crazy about it. So Harry Potter started my life back in that days, and it's still here up today. I'm crazy about Harry Potter.
This chapter is all about Harry's first week at Hogwarts.
at Hogwarts. Yeah.
And it's very magical, as you would expect,
Uh
but
huh.
also a little bit chaotic. And the chapter starts with everyone looking at him and talking about him and being like, look, Harry Potter, the one with the glasses, with the red haired boy,
With this car.
with this car. Yeah, and just before we get into the adjectives, I need to get your opinion on this because even the teachers, when Flitwick is taking the register, he's like, oh, Harry Potter. And there's the part where he goes to Snape and he's like, our new celebrity. Oh,
I love this quote actually. Just a parenthesis here. I always say, "Oh, Harry Potter, our new celebrity." I always use this part of the.
I love it. I
I
love it.
love this. I love
I've
this.
used it with most of my students at some point. But what are your feelings and thoughts on this? Because it just seems like a bunch of impolite kids pointing and staring. You
Yeah,
don't do that.
yeah.
So,
You don't do that. You don't do that. Even if you are a celebrity or if you're not a celebrity, you don't do this because until Harry discovered that he was a wizard, he wasn't a normal boy. He was a boy that actually he suffered a lot because had he has no mom or dad. Her aunt and his aunt and his uncle, they treated him very badly, and also his cousin. So Harry Potter, he moved from a scenario to another, and his life didn't change. It changed only the people who were pointing him. And the first impression that we have is something very sad, because when we start to read the book, we say, oh, thank God someone came to rescue Harry, and now he's going to have a happy life. And no, it doesn't happen. It's even the worst, because everything happens to him and he has no one. In the first thought, he has no one, but then we are going to see that many people come to help. But my first impression is this: we say, oh, poor Harry, why everybody's pointing at him, nobody likes him. And
yeah,
this is something very, very sad. It's something that we don't do. We don't go outside and start pointing everyone. We don't do this. We don't do this. But
it's
uh
horrible.
it's horrible. It's something that we don't do. It's something that we don't expect no one does with us, and it's something that happened to him. Poor Harry.
Yeah, I still remember when I first read this chapter, and I was always a quiet kid, and I was always the friend of the isolated kids,
Okay, and
like the
yes.
protector of the bullied kids.
Uh-huh.
And well, that was at the age of 11, 12. When I was about 16, I kind of bullied a little some people, but I had a reason. Let's not get into that. But I remember I was reading it and thinking, I just want to hug him. Come here, I'll be your friend. Give me
Oh,
your
be your
hand.
friend. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's so sad. Still to this day, reading every time someone bullies Harry in any way just makes my heart feel so tight. I don't
Bleed.
like this.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like this. In real life, in fiction, I just do not like this.
Yeah, it's something that we can't stand. I can't stand looking at someone who is suffering and don't do anything. So
Yeah,
I do the same. I say, "Oh, I'll be your friend. Come here. I'll help you." And in this scenario here, we can see the total of zero people helping Harry. Nobody helping him.
nobody
Nobody.
wants to help him.
Nobody.
Throughout
Nobody.
most of the books, yeah.
Yeah, most of the books, most he has to handle it by himself. He doesn't know. He doesn't have anyone.
In the second, sorry, the second one. I'm not talking counting anything. Um, Harry is very overwhelmed by how big Hogwarts is, and
Yeah.
especially because things seem to move around.
He had the portraits.
Yeah, and the stairs change place and direction. And to kick off our talk on adjectives, I highlighted a bit where Harry is talking about the 142 staircases
At
at Hogwarts.
Hogwarts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you take note of the same thing?
Yeah, I was because there are a lot of adjectives here, so I highlighted this part.
Yeah. Do you want to read?
Yeah, I'm going to read just a second.
Yeah. No worries. Have my cookie
Uh,
meanwhile.
there were 143 staircases at Hogwarts, wide, sweeping ones, narrow, rickety ones, some that led somewhere different on a Friday, with some with a vanishing step halfway up that you had to remember to jump. I highlighted this part.
Same. Exactly the same. Great minds think alike. Right. In this one, we have lots of adjectives.
A lot.
And if you never noticed before, and you, the listener, not you, Tamara, for those of you who never noticed before, there is a particular order of adjectives when we are describing things. First of all, what is the main difference between using adjectives in Portuguese and in English? Can you help us, teacher Tamara?
Yes, the main difference is the order because in Portuguese, first we say the noun and then we say the adjective. For example, if we say porta amarela, in English you're going to say a yellow door. We have to invert the order.
Yes, exactly. And not only that, but there is a specific order in which adjectives need to come, just to
Sure.
make things even more complicated, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
but
And
but it's not that complicated. Let's make the people who are listening to us a little bit happier because it's not that complicated when you practice and when we relearn the order. So it's not that difficult. It's a little bit difficult, but it's not that difficult.
yeah, and in my head at least, I always find that usually what sounds better is
Better.
the correct one.
It
Because
helps a
if,
lot. It
yeah,
helps.
usually when you say it, like if you say, let's say, wide sweeping ones, does it sound
Uh-huh.
better when you say wide sweeping or sweeping wide?
Dripping
Also,
white.
because sweeping wide changes the meaning of it.
Really,
But
really, yeah, it does. It
yeah,
does. It does.
but
Natalia, if you may, I'd like to make an observation here in sweeping because
yes, go
sweeping is an
on.
adjective that comes from a verb,
Oh, yes, well
isn't
noted.
it? Yeah, we have the verb
Yeah.
to sweep, and then we add the ing to turn this verb into an adjective. It's another kind of adjective that you have to pay attention. Sometimes we only have in mind that the words that end the ing, they are a verb, but sometimes they are an adjective, and you have to pay attention to this.
Very well
It's an
spotted. There
adjective.
are verbs that can be transformed into adjectives by
Yeah,
using the ing. And
the
then
ing forms.
I'm sure some listeners will be asking themselves, okay, how do I know the difference
How do I
between
know the difference?
yeah,
It's the
between
context. The first one is the context.
exactly, yeah. Because if we're not talking about a continuous action here,
Really?
it's not going to be a continuous verb. But
Yeah, it's
in
the
this context,
context.
it's clearly an adjective. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Okay, and I'm a little confused. I don't know how to do this. I need your help.
And here
How?
we here we
Yeah,
can we are describing the staircases, right?
yeah.
So we have the different staircases. So we have the ones that are wide, sweeping. We have ones that are narrow and rickety. We have an adjective order here. We have the size and
Mm.
size and like the it's not the material, but how is the staircase constructed actually. So here we have already we have a bug here. We have the order of the adjective. We have here, but it's a little bit implicit. We read and we don't mind about this, but they're there.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like you said, the size comes first?
The size is always first. It's always,
Hmm.
we always start with the size. So it's something big and plastic, big and glass. So the size is always first.
Yeah. The only thing that comes in before size is number if you are saying a number, but that's not necessarily
Yeah.
an adjective. Or
Hmm.
an opinion, something that
An
is not,
opinion. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Other than that, when you're talking about physical, actual characteristics, size is always going to come first.
Yeah, size always come first.
Quando ele vê o tamanho da boneca, ficar passado, querido.
I mean, just imagine everything in your life just changed completely. You find out you're a wizard. You are shipped off to school somewhere in Scotland,
Yeah.
and there's lots of magic going on. People are talking about you. You're suddenly a celebrity. On
Yeah,
top
you're
of that,
celebrity.
and on top
And
of
there's
that,
something even crazier because everybody there knows about you,
yeah,
but you have no idea about who you are.
no,
This is something really crazy if you thought about this. You don't know
it's
who you
all
are,
it's
but
almost
everybody
like
does.
everyone knows you so much better than you know yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
on top
you
of that, the school itself is a labyrinth and things change. And not only you
yeah,
have to find your way through a new school, things change.
it's completely crazy. It's a crazy story. Seems like you're dreaming and you're going to wake up and it's going to be that crazy dreams that you had during the night. And you say, oh, okay, now I'm going back to my real life. It was only a dream, but it's not.
Yeah. Talking about Peeves, Harry says that there is someone who is even worse than Peeves, and it's Filch the caretaker.
Bitch.
But
Really.
before we talk about Filch, and we will talk about Filch, what can you tell me about this when Harry says, even worse than Peeves was the caretaker?
Even worse than pips. Here we have a structure about the comparative, which is a form about the. It's a form about an adjective, and you hear talk about the adjective bad. Okay, we have to remember that bad it's an irregular adjective, and we don't follow that rule that we have to put er after an adjective. Since we're talking about an irregular, so okay, previous is bad, it's something bad, but there's something that is worse than him. So here we are comparing Peeves with something worse, with something that it's we can't say even better. We can't use it this because we have
Or
the
more bad that
or
doesn't
more
exist.
bad. But actually, the years that I was a teenage teacher, it was many years of my life. They did this a lot. They use it to write. Oh, there's math is better than English. They did this. And it's something that goes natural because we have a lot of adjectives that we only add ed. And in this case, bad, we can do this because we have the what is going.
I have no idea. Okay, sorry about that.
That's
Continue,
okay.
please.
Um, we have the specific word which is worse. So we can say that something's worse than previous, and it's filch because he's worse than a ghost. A ghost
Yeah.
is worse, but
Uh,
filch is worse.
Actually, in my opinion, Filch is the worst. But
Yeah,
anyway,
he's so
but yeah, well,
scary.
oh, he's crazy, I think. But we're gonna talk about him. We are gonna get
Okay.
to him. Um, well pointed. Thank you, Thamara. Because yes, here we have an adjective. Worse is also an adjective, but as a comparative. So it's
Yeah.
important to note that um it changes completely. Usually you can either say that something is more adjective than, or you can say
Then
something is adjective plus er at the end. Like, for example, colder, or shorter,
Hotter, shorter,
harder,
taller. Yeah.
taller.
And don't
But
forget to Dan, taller than something because we are comparing. We
yeah,
need two things here.
yeah, very well spotted. And this one changes completely. So from bad to worse.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to describe Filch and the cat, Mrs. Norris. And I have a question actually, because the book edition that I read when I was a kid said that her name was uh Norra, like with several R's. I don't know
A
what
lot of
was
R's.
in your book.
Yeah, me too. I don't remember actually because the first edition that I read, I was 11 years old, so I don't remember. But then I read many times, and I think I didn't pay attention. But these several R's that we have, I remember this, but I don't remember if they changed it during the editions of the book. I don't remember.
Yeah, I distinctly remember in book one it said Norra, like several R's,
Uh huh.
Norrra.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was even an extra sentence that is not in the English version because it said in Portuguese, como quem ronrona,
Yeah,
like
this. Uh
purring,
huh. Uh
right? And
huh.
it's not here. There's nothing to
It's
say
not
that
in
here.
here. It's not in here. And actually, I don't know why if it did this part specifically isn't here because in this chapter, actually, at the end of this chapter, we have Hagrid talking to Harry and talking to Ron, and Harry he talks in a different way. So it
Yeah,
should be here this information, but it's not.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But Harry goes on to describe her as a scrawny, dusty colored creature with bulging, lamp-like eyes. What are
Just like
your
Filch.
notes on this?
My notes here. We don't have here the order of adjectives, but we have here a lot of adjectives describing the cat, but we don't obey an order here. We don't have the order here, but they use a lot of adjectives to describe that it's a terrible cat. Oh my god,
Yeah, I
it's a
they just
terrible cat. Seems like they pile a lot of adjectives just to maximize the how bad is the cat. Okay,
yeah,
but they don't say it's the worst cat. They don't use a superlative here. They just
they don't.
pile bad adjectives to the cat.
Also, I want to mention that one of the adjectives that it says here is lamp-like eyes. And
Lamp
it is
like eyes.
lamp-like, and it's something
Mm-hmm.
that's worth noting that it's completely possible to make adjectives by using a noun and
And
like
like.
with a hyphen,
Yes.
kind of making a collocation there. Um,
Every time that you want to say that something is similar to another, we can use this construction. We can use
yep,
this when something similar to another.
yeah,
That we 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 must know how to use the adjectives because adjectives make our reading and our writing richer.
yeah,
We have it because these adjectives have the power to make us imagine the story. So if you say, "Oh, it's a white wall," you just imagine a white wall. But if you throw a lot of adjectives to these white walls, your imagination is going to explode. And this is the paper of a good author. It's the paper of a good teacher. Actually, when we are storytelling something, when we are saying something, we must add as much as adjective that we can in order to increase the creativity, increase the
yeah,
imagination. That's why the adjectives are so important, especially when we are reading, especially when we are writing, especially when we are storytelling. They are very,
yeah.
they have a special part in every language that we are learning.
I found what I was looking for. The name of the adjectives that can be used in any order without changing the meaning these
Really?
coordinate adjectives. And what I have written
Okay.
here in my lesson is no correct or particular order that they must be used in. And if the order is changed, it will not alter the meaning of the phrase. It's usually separated by a comma, so virgule,
Uh-huh.
or by the word end.
And okay.
Yeah.
It's a very
So
important
yeah.
information. I didn't remember the name either.
So still talking about Filch and about how crazy Hogwarts is. Harry also says that there's lots of passageways, hidden
Uh-huh.
secret passageways. And he says that Filch knows the secret passageways better than anyone.
Then, yeah,
Okay.
better than anyone.
Here we also have a comparative.
Yeah.
The comparative adjective here is better, and it is the exact opposite of worse. So
Worse.
worse comes from bad, and better comes from good. So it is one of the three adjectives that change completely when
Completely.
being transformed into a comparative or a superlative. One of them is bad, which becomes worse. The other one is good, that becomes better. We're not going to go into the other one right now.
Yeah.
Let's not make it too complicated.
Yeah. Let's memorize only these two.
Yeah, the other one gets a little bit weird. There's variations to the other one.
Yeah.
And shall we make a note of the pronunciation here? Because
I was
I've
going
been
to say
saying,
this. Very good because you have a British one.
yeah, because I've been saying better. How do you
Yeah.
say that?
I'm going to say better. Better than.
And if people listening, if you have not seen it yet, you may not know that we have a YouTube channel for the pod. On the YouTube channel, I posted a video about the different British accents because we usually say British accent like it's the Harry Potter
In general.
accent.
Yeah.
And it's not. There's loads of different accents. Like you mentioned, Tamara, Hagrid speaks in a completely different way.
Yeah. A different. Very different.
Yeah, his accent is the mid-country accent. And
Oh, I didn't.
if you are interested, go check it out. If you are listening on the pod platform, then go to YouTube. If you are on the YouTube channel, it's going to be linked here somewhere. Right. Let's keep going. Hagrid? We don't have Hagrid here. Harry.
Harry.
Harry described some of his teachers as well. I don't know what you noted in your chapter, but the one that I noted here was Dumpy Little Witch, which is how he described Professor Sprout.
Professor Sprout. Yeah, dumpy little bitch. I think it's really interesting when we first read Harry Potter in Portuguese and when we start to read in English because I think it's more excited to read in English. I wouldn't have paid attention to this sentence here, dumpy little witch, if it was in Portuguese, but in English it seems like we pay more attention to the words. I don't know why this happened, but this happens
Yeah.
to me. I don't know to you.
Here is an example of what we mentioned before, that opinion comes before size, because little would be relating to the size, to her size. She's
Yeah.
small, like she's short.
Uh-huh.
But also Dumpy is Harry's interpretation of her. Not interpretation,
Yeah.
but like his opinion of her, right?
It's his opinion. Very, yeah.
Someone
It's
else
very
could look at
positive.
her and say something different. Obviously, she's little because that's her size. Someone else
Uh-huh.
may think she's not dumpy. She's just she's chubby.
Yeah.
But that's just an example. And then from here, he starts to describe the
The class.
most boring lesson, which is history of
Theory
magic.
of magic.
And here we have most boring. I'm gonna let
Most
you take on
boring.
that.
The most boring here, it's because he has a lot of classes, but there's one classes that is the most boring. He's not using a comparative anymore. Actually, it's a superlative because we compare one subject among the other subjects. Okay, I
Yeah.
always have this struggle when I was teaching this to my kids, because they say, oh, but I am comparing. I say, okay, you're comparing, and then they go, but why this isn't a comparative? And I always explain, because the comparative, it's when you compare one thing to another. So this is more boring than that. But in this case here, when you're using the superlative, we have to use the most boring, because we are comparing one thing among a lot of things. It's not only two things that are being compared. We are comparing, we get a group of things like this. We have a lot of subjects. And from the subjects, we get one of this, and we talk about this particular subject. That's why we say that it's the superlative. It's a comparative, okay, but we are comparing among others. So we use the most. We can't forget about the most, and then we use the adjective, the most boring lesson, the most handsome boy. So it's always the superlative here. And in this case here, it's a long adjective, boring, because they have another rules here when the adjective is short, and then you have a long adjective. In this case here, boring is a long adjective. And can I talk about the short?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, because the short is
Please.
different. The short is different. For example, if we get the adjective short, let's use short. We can't use the short boy. We have to add
Or the most
er.
short.
The most we are no, sorry, est. The
Yep.
shortest boy. The shortest boy. It's something different here.
Gonna say that we are talking about all these rules here on the comparatives and superlatives, and this is the grammatically correct. So,
Yeah,
hey, if you're
indeed.
taking an exam, this is what you need. And yes, that's the correct way to speak. But I do hear people using it incorrectly. Let's
A
say.
lot.
So like,
A lot.
yeah,
They do this every time.
yeah, they say a lot like more smaller than or
Mm-hmm.
more better than. They do use it in that way, and that is colloquial language, right? It's like it's street language. It's
Yeah.
um what's the name?
Informal English.
Exactly. Yeah, informal, and it's okay. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
that they're speaking
it's
it wrong.
a hundred
Yeah.
percent okay.
I'm pretty sure that the people I hear talking like that, and I mean like people I work with and friends, they would not use that, for example, at a job interview. It's the way they
Yeah.
speak to their
Or
friends,
an
the way they talk
exam.
normally. Yeah, or at an exam because they know how to speak correctly. But it's like us in Brazil, like I don't know, but like a dois pão, you know,
Dois pão, yeah.
right?
200 gramas.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There are things that
But here
we
in Brazil we do this. For example, if you're going to buy bread, and you say, me vê é, dois pães de sal, né? E às vezes fala, me vê dois pão, a gente fala, dá dois pão.
yeah,
It's the
and sometimes
informal English.
yeah, sometimes there is a reason why you want to use the incorrect language. It may be because you want to fit in with a group, or
Yeah.
maybe because you want to relate to someone or someone to
Uh-huh.
relate to you. Okay, and this will be the end of part 1 of this chapter. Next week, we are discussing part 2, and teacher Thamara will be here with us again. Thank you so much, Thamara. I'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you so much, Natalia. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to us. Next week, we're going to be here talking more about Harry Potter. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.